Hi, I'm Matt.
Hi, my name is Bianca, and I'm an orgyaholic.
So you know what we just did?
What did we just do?
Oh, what did we just do? You know what we just did.
Oh, I know what we just did. We had an orgy, or we participated in an orgy.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we haven't done that in a long time.
I know, it's been forever. Yeah, we were having a discussion if we couldn't remember. Like, it's been so long since we've done anything like that. So
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we talk often about change and how couples will evolve and they'll go this direction and this direction. And that is something that we've mentioned many times is that, when we first started out, we were doing orgies. We loved orgies. We had a group of friends that we would just do that all the time.
Right.
And, a few of them moved away and a few of them left the lifestyle, et cetera, as people tend to do.
Yeah.
So we lost that crowd.
Right.
And then we started to change over into separate room and just kind of doing one-on-one and just, regular couples stuff that we did when we first, of course, started out.
Right.
And so then we just kind of fell into that.
Yeah. We just kind of walked into it, sort of. I mean,
literally,
it's not that
and
we
figuratively.
didn't know what we were doing or what we were getting into, but I really liked that it was kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing. It wasn't like a planned thing. I liked that, for me, I need to feel comfortable in a situation. I don't like feeling like pushed into something or doing something I'm uncomfortable with or whatever. And the hosts of it were both of them at separate times came up to me to check in on me and make sure I was okay and comfortable. And I really appreciated that. And I had a great time. I remember at the beginning of it, like, just because I stood back and just enjoyed for a while. Matt was up in there. There was a whole bunch of people up in there. But there were other people just kind of like sitting around watching as well. And I just remember sitting there just drinking my cocktail thinking, fuck, is this really my life? I'm just sitting here just enjoying watching people have sex all over the place. And I could join or I could not join, and either way is fine. I wasn't feeling any pressure or anything, but I was just like, this is pretty awesome.
Right.
And then I did eventually join.
Sure.
Yeah. But then, it was nice too, because you could like go join in, and then when you were like needed a break or needed some water, you just kind of like step back, go hang out, and then at some point you get back in there. And so it was really like, it was a great orgy. It was very well orchestrated.
Well orchestrated
put
orgy.
together. And
Yeah.
And I don't think that was really planned. I think it just kind of happened that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, just so this was at a large event, and they had an open door policy. So if a door is open, kind of go on in, and you can watch or see or join in or something like that, and which is very common at big takeovers and such. And so it was just kind of like, and of course these were friends of ours, so we went in and then we're just kind of hanging out, but pretty early on in the evening, and then suddenly people started to have sex like right in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is cool. And we've talked many times about your comfort level, and people kind of need to bring you into a situation. And this was a situation where nobody was bringing you in, where we were just kind of in the corner, just kind of watching. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I make her comfortable in this situation? Because that's more important than anything. Because I could just get right on in there. I'm perfectly fine, just kind of scooching on into the crowd, moving some legs, separating some people, and
diving on
in. Head first, feet first, it doesn't matter. Mouth first, tongue first. But it's important to always pay attention to where your spouse is at, where your significant other is at, because we like to say that you always want to move with the speed of the more conservative of the two.
Right.
And I also didn't want to just decide to join an orgy and have her feel uncomfortable as she's standing up there twiddling her thumbs in the corner by herself. So, but
I was hardly in the corner by myself.
Well, early on, it was just the two of us kind of standing there, and then it was. But because so many people know where your comfort levels are, and that you're not just going to jump on in there, that when the hosts came over to you and started talking to you, make you feel comfortable, and see if there's anything that you could do, they could do, or something that would make you more comfortable with potentially joining in, and like what were the types of things that they said to you?
Well, I mean, they were just both very open and honest, and basically asked that. How are you doing? Are you okay? Are you comfortable? Is there anything I can do to make you more comfortable? And mostly, I just felt like a little embarrassed, like, I'm fine, don't bother me, just go fuck other people. Yeah, no, they just like just being honest and checking in with me. And I mean, if there was something that could make me more comfortable, I guess I could have said that, but I don't know what would make me feel more comfortable in that situation. It took someone I know coming over and starting with me and making out with me and that kind of stuff, and pulling me in and checking, are you okay if we go over here? And yes, I am okay with that. And I ended up having sex with someone I'd never met before.
I wanted to go into that in a bit, but we can skip forward. That's fine. No, because like we often say, and we even had a video not long ago where we were interviewing someone, and they said that, what's the term? You have a term.
Demisexual.
Demisexual. Where and describe what that is.
I just need to know someone a little bit better before I feel comfortable having sex with them. So, yeah.
But in
there
this
are
situation,
exceptions.
there are exceptions.
I don't
for you.
feel like I'm 100%. I mean, I'm also kind of very much go with the flow. And if this person who I had sex with had creeped me out in any way, I would have said, oh, no, no thank you, or whatever. But I'm not so, like, people pleasing or whatever, that I just have sex with someone that I'm not interested in at all. And sometimes you get down there and you're in the mood and whatever, and yeah, sure, but so yeah, it was good. Okay. Again, I think I had that like out of body experience of, oh my gosh, this is really my life. Like I'm having sex with someone that I didn't even have a conversation with.
Didn't even have a conversation with, and you had a good time.
No idea what their name was.
Yeah, if you saw him on the street,
it was dark in there.
He was dark in there. Which is one of the joys of a lifestyle. That you can look at that and you go, it's all good.
I mean, like, I think for me, it's not like a hard rule where I have to know the person and have like 5 encounters with them before I'll have sex with them. There is no set rule in my mind.
Okay.
I just need to get to the point where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And if I meet someone right now, and for however they do it, they make me feel comfortable, yeah, I'm gonna go have sex with them if I'm comfortable and I'm into it. There's no hard and fast rule. For me, it's more about just getting comfortable in the situation, because I tend to be more shy, and I do think that the first time you have sex with someone, it's usually not that great because you don't know them that well. For me, I feel like I don't know what you like. I know what he likes. And I'm going to kind of do what he likes, and then I can adjust it for you. But if I don't know what adjustments I need to make, then how can I adjust for what's going to make you or that person really enjoy my time?
Right.
And I think usually the first time I'm with someone, I just feel so kind of shy and just, I don't know what to do, that I don't really take the lead and I don't really let my true self shine. Whereas like with you, like I have no problem grabbing you by the neck and pulling you to the back and fucking your brains out.
Sure.
Because I'm comfortable with you and I know you like, and I know what you like, and I know that you enjoy that.
I do.
So yeah, I feel like the more you have sex with someone, the better it gets.
Okay.
So don't judge me by one orgy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh no, you did very well. You did.
Did I?
Oh yeah. Oh no, people were giving you A+.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
Yeah,
No, I didn't know there was a scorecard.
There's always a scorecard. No.
I see.
But it was interesting to watch you in that situation, because it felt very much like our old orgies of years ago, in the sense that there was this well, like you had mentioned, this kind of come and go, no pun intended, of people were just kind of doing their thing, or you would have sex with someone, and then you would, after a little while, you'd be done with that person, or taking a break or however, and you just kind of went over and sat on the couch and, maybe had a drink or ate some food or something like that to rehydrate.
Yeah.
And then go back again, because it was interesting that there were even times that you came in that you did take the lead.
Yes.
Which, again, as you were saying, is a little unusual for people that you don't know. I mean, I was having sex with a woman, and you kind of came over and just were, you just decided to just kind of rub on her, and because she was very sensitive at that time because she's getting fucked at that time.
Yeah.
And you asked permission. Is this okay to do this?
Yeah. And speaking of that is something that's, so I completely 100% agree with the whole consent. Like, you should always make sure that there's consent.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time when people just kind of like jump into an orgy situation.
Right.
And I don't know anything about them. I don't know their name or anything. And if they didn't ask consent first.
Okay.
It is, and we had this conversation with the hosts too, when the person that I did have sex with, stuck his face in my face and said, "Can I fuck you?" or "Can I go down on you?" or whatever it was, because he did both. I was like, yes. Like, I, in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's so nice that he asked. But part of me was like, now I feel really awkward, because it kind of took me out of that sensual where I was, brought me back to reality for a second. I had to make a decision right then and there. It wasn't like, well, let me think about this. What's your name? What's your sign?
What's your
like, I had to make a split decision. So I think I felt a little bit on the spot right there, because what if I wanted to say no? How would that go? How would he react? So like, in a split second, all these thoughts are going through my brain. And while I appreciate that he asked consent, and everybody in there was asking consent, even when I went up to the person that you were with, and I gave her my name. I said, "Hi, this is Bianca. Is it okay if I touch you?" And because I thought everybody else is doing it, I should do it. And obviously, like, I don't know if she wants a woman touching her. I didn't know her that well. And so I just wanted to check in and make sure. And that's the right thing to do, right? But I don't know, like, the right way. Like, I mean, when I did it, I just kind of like tried to be sensual, whispering in her ear, because I didn't want to pull her out of what you were doing and what was going on where she was. I didn't want to pull her out of that reality. So, but I still wanted to make sure I got consent. So I think trying to find too, like, a sensual, non-creepy way to ask for it is something that could be, try to discover a way to do that as well.
That's good. Consent's an interesting topic, because it definitely has changed over the last few years.
Sure.
I mean, we've seen that ourselves. I mean, just what you're saying as far as orgies are concerned, because early on it was just kind of someone just had their hand on you.
Well, and I think sorry to interrupt, but with orgies that we've done in the past, it was with a controlled group for the most part.
For the most part,
well,
but
that's not true. You're right.
Yeah,
that's not true. I'm thinking of other things, but like sometimes, like when you're in an orgy situation that everybody, you've got a group of 10 people. You're all good friends. You all know each other. There's no need to have consent. There's implied consent, right?
Sure.
I mean,
if you've played with someone already,
check in and everything, like you're having a party. And, I think if I was having a party and we knew everybody there, we'd already played with everybody there, we all knew that what was going to happen. I think if I was not wanting to play with someone or anyone, I think I would let that be known at the beginning of the orgy and then keep back to like a blanket statement of, I'm not consenting to anything right now. I'm saying when you have, like, there should always be some form of consent, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you're in this orgy situation and it's you know everybody, just because you know everybody doesn't mean you have consent.
Right.
Just because you've played with them before doesn't mean that there is consent. So, like, I'm saying that I feel if I was in an orgy situation where I know everybody and I've already played with them, I'm comfortable with them, but I'm not feeling that night, like I want to join in, I would make some sort of statement beforehand to be like, I'm going to just watch everybody tonight because I'm just not feeling it or whatever. Like, I would, instead of being pulled in and making out with someone and then them trying to get consent. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't think that's really the case. I don't think you would do that because...
No, I'm not saying I would. My point was, you still need to, like, make sure that there is consent at some point. And I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying,
so
you want to have, even if you've played with people before, going to the party, for me, if I go to the party and I'm there and everything, that's kind of pretty much consent for me.
Okay, from your perspective.
From my perspective. But if I went to the party just to hang out with my friends and wasn't feeling like I wanted to have sex, I would tell people beforehand that I'm just watching, I'm not playing tonight, so that all the sexy time doesn't get distracted by why is Bianca sitting in the corner not playing or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. I mean, I guess that could possibly happen.
I guess I just feel like just because you've played with someone, just because you have a group,
well, if you're not in the mood, you're not in the mood.
It doesn't mean that it is always consent. Like, I feel like you still need to get consent each and every time. I mean, you don't need a signed letter or anything, but just like...
Well, that's really interesting, and I think a lot of people would agree with you on paper, but but
that's why I'm having trouble describing this and coming up with it.
Yeah,
we don't script these.
For example, these people, the people that you've played with, like, okay, and they're friends of yours, and you've played with them, and you will play with them again, and you look forward to the next time doing that. Are you going to really make sure that he says, "Is it okay if I touch you?"
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, if I change my mind one time, and I'm not wanting to play, I feel like I can say it that time.
Sure.
I'm sorry I'm not describing this very well. I feel like I've played with this person. I'm willing to play with them again. I enjoy playing with this person.
Yeah.
That is my consent. Yes, I will play with you. But today I'm just not feeling it, and we're at this orgy, so I'm going to say, I'm not playing today, so I'm pulling away that consent for today.
I think what you're describing is...
I'm just making it more confusing, aren't I?
No, I think well, yes, but I think it's just you're describing you sitting in a corner compared to you being in the middle of a puppy pile.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's where the difference is. The fact is, if it's a group of people that you've played with already, you feel comfortable with every single person there, and you're in the middle of a bunch of naked bodies... In that specific situation, the consent is very implied, and I mean you've had this guy's penis in your mouth. The odds are you're okay with it being there again if you're in that situation. Not necessarily, of course,
right?
And you could, of course, change your mind or say no, thank you, or whatever. But in those situations, it's very unlikely for you or I for that to happen. I think that when I was in that situation and I was playing, I mean, because. Like I said, consent has changed quite a bit in the lifestyle world in the last few years. That I'm very aware of that, especially as a guy, as far as forwardness, as far as what I do and what I don't do for someone I haven't played with, especially in a situation like that where there might be people in this group of naked bodies that I've never even talked to before. Usually in those situations, the people that are in those groups are very open to just about anything.
Right.
And so, like, there were a couple of women that, that I hadn't had a conversation or hadn't talked more than 2 or 3 sentences, all the time leading up to that I said, is it okay if I touch you, or is it okay if I touch you, or whatever it might be, and they said yes, and that in itself was kind of enough to move forward. I don't think there was really a situation with some that I heard even of someone saying more than that. Oh, that's not true. I did ask women if I could fuck them now.
Yeah.
But I think that's just one of those situations with a new person. Yeah, because I did ask that a few times, that specific question. So I guess...
Well, yeah, and the nice thing about doing that, too, is that gives the woman a chance to say, like, for me, he asked, I'm not positive, but I vaguely remember him saying, do you mind if I put on a condom and fuck you? Which I appreciated him saying that. Do you mind if I put on a condom?
Sure, yeah.
I think he said that. I'm not positive, but there was talk about condoms because I did say I'm latex free. Do you have one or do you need one? Because I brought them with me. And he was like, no, I've got one. So that gave him asking if I can fuck you was, I really, as someone who is latex free, who has a latex allergy, I appreciate that moment. I was able to come out of what was going on and be like, okay, yes, you can, but let's make sure I have the correct protection so that I don't have a reaction to it. So I do think that that was, now that I'm coming down and thinking about this, like, that was great for me to have him ask me that, because then I'm able to say, grab the correct one so I don't have a reaction.
Sure.
Because nobody wants that.
That's right. Okay, here's a question for you, and we'd love it if you'd comment below.
How would you ask someone for consent to fuck them in the middle of the action.
In the middle of an orgy.
How are you going to do that? And it not to take away from what's going on and keep that sensualness going, that vibe. Not to take away from it, but to still get consent.
And of course, have you ever had a problem with consent during an orgy? Because it is kind of an unusual situation, so we'd love to hear your stories. Please comment below. And then after that, after you've commented, make sure you go to www.clubsapphire.net. Check out all the amazing events that are coming up here soon, and we're getting up into Halloween and then New Year's, which are, of course, the big lifestyle holidays, high holidays.
Yeah.
So make sure you buy your tickets early.
Yep.
And we'll be there.
And also, special treat for you, we've got a couple of birthdays coming up in December. So as a lot of you know, I teach pole dancing classes here at the club. And so we've got some special performances coming up. So if you want to see myself and a couple of my sexy dancers perform.
Bianca's Beauties.
Yes. Oh, I like that.
Oh, thank you.
I like that. I was trying to come up with something today, just now.
Okay.
Yeah, so come watch me and my beauties perform on the pole for a couple of birthdays. And if you have a birthday coming up and want a performance, feel free to reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's it.
All right, perfect. Well, we'll see you at the next orgy.